guys, my name is RGB. If you just connected to the server, welcome! This is the third video of an ongoing redesign series where we rewrite and redesign Yandere Simulator's world. If you're already a regular, welcome home. The last redesign video was almost a feature film long, so today we're going easy and redesigning only 2 characters. But don't worry, because it's still packed with lengthy commentary about the redesign, the characters' rewritten personality, and the game story. This time, the subjects of research will be Amai and Megami Seiko. Originally, I was going to include Oka in this video, but Amai and Megami's part were already getting way too long, and I didn't want it to get tiring. Kizana was also going to be an odd one out if today I tackled 3 girls at once, so the next one will be Kizana and Oka, and depending on how I end up writing the big problematic 3, I might make a special of them or just individual videos. So let's get to work. I suggest you watch until the end because, personally, I really like how I changed Megami's personality and the world dynamic she's in. She's a real boss baby, so let's start with Amai. I'll start this off by saying that Amai was the hardest to figure out something to do with her because personality-wise, she felt really bland to begin with. She's the second rival, which is quote-unquote fully implemented in the game if you ignore the lack of voice acting and animated cutscenes. So, the first thing you'll probably notice is that I made Amai a plus-sized girl. For her redesign specifically, I was really out of ideas on how I could tweak her looks. It never crossed my mind to change her body type, but when I saw people doing so, I felt compelled to try my best at it too. Aside from that, you've probably noticed that something I dislike a lot about the character's design is how they're wearing club gear on top of uniforms, and they do so even when outside of their clubs. It feels a little funny because why would Amai go to class casually wearing an apron? So, per tradition with setup, I've drawn Amai's usual uniform look, and on the close-up, her with an apron and a tasty pie she just finished making. I feel like half of the problems I had with this girl's designs are directly tied to the awfully short uniform they wear, so my head just perceives them differently once I put them on our Academy High custom uniform. This feels like an advertisement. Aside from the clear uniform change that all of her redesigns have so far, just like Ozana, Amai has tokens that are her own, and not the school standard. I decided to give Amai a frilly ruffles kind of aesthetic, so most of her own clothes have some kind of decoration like that. I wanted to keep her head accessory since it's pretty cute in my opinion. So differently from the bandana she wears when cooking, baking, she has a little tiara with some bows. For finishing touches, I ended up changing her eye color because I know some people may not like this idea and think her eyes are pretty cute, but I felt like it felt funny to have her clothes be the exact shade of green as her eyes. Imagining her deliberately choosing clothing to match her eyes seems like something Kizana would do, since she's so self-centered. I might be overthinking, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. With that out of our way, let's go to the actual cool part of the redesign, which is her personality and overall lore. Amai is a kind, gentle, and loyal girl. She's easily the friendliest girl at school, as she will welcome even the outcasts into her kitchen and feed them delicious food. With the warmth of a mother, Amai is always understanding and available to be a reliable shoulder to cry on. She seeks to see the good in every person, although her set prejudices sometimes will make her turn a blind eye towards things and people she assumes to be weird and against her beliefs. Amai keeps a mature and patient stance even with the most unreasonable people. It's a known fact that even the mean girls won't let you mess with Amai because why would the school risk not getting delicious meals for free and anytime they want? Even if their intentions are a little bit off, at least Amai is safe from their pestering. But that reputation comes at a great cost. A lot of her attitude, as she's not the angel she shows off to her peers. She's just a normal girl, really. The thing is that Amai has very poor self-image. She's unhappy with the way she looks because she doesn't believe people would fall for her, so she puts all of her self-worth into her cooking skills and her angelic persona. But she really just wanted that someone would take her hand and say it's okay if she's just herself, and that she doesn't need to try too hard. But then there was Senpai. There's 2 different ways Amai and Senpai meet. For the genocide road, after Ozana is eliminated by the means of violence and people finding out she is missing / is dead, Senpai is heavily affected by that. He mourns her so deeply that he is absent from school for almost a week, and after that long, the teacher asks Amai to deliver him all of the material he needs to catch up to. She is from a different class as him, but she's the one who lives the closest. Initially, Initially, she's a bit reluctant to accept because she doesn't know Senpai very well, but she ends up accepting because she wouldn't ever deny a favor like that. Because she is aware of Senpai's situation, she prepares a box of cupcakes to try and patch up his heart, because she understands she might not have words that are comforting enough for someone who lost a loved one so suddenly. When they meet, it's kind of funny because I imagine the scene like this. Senpai is alone at his house wearing an old cat onesie that barely fits him, which he used to match with Ozana on game nights when they were 16. Amai can't help but find that oddly endearing, and she slips up a lot. Taro realizes how silly he must look, and they share a quick laughter before Amai explains why she's there. Taro is bummed again because he hates homework, but then he gets happy he's getting free treats, and jokes that he should be absent from school more often. Amai is taken by surprise by his smooth talk, and quickly raises her guard because she feels like he's those kind of empty charmers who try to get girls to do things for them and then throw them away. After Senpai comes back to school, he quickly attaches himself to Amai, but she coldly dismisses him as she still has the set idea that he's no good. He's quick to break that idea she has of him, as he makes an on-point reading of how she's pretty patient and kind, even when she's annoyed at something. Her smile is not skilled enough to deceive him, so he quickly dismantles her persona, and feeling defeated, she opens her heart to him. In the pacifist role, the relationship is a bit rockier because Amai is way more reluctant to let him speak to her because she's afraid he's going to charm her and then just use her to get free snacks. Differently from the genocide role, they meet after class ended when everyone's helping with cleaning. Senpai is snooping around the other classes and he sees Amai. The exchange looks for longer than expected and it becomes a little bit awkward. Then in the next day, they get paired up for school activities and they keep on meeting in happy accidents like that, until Amai finally softens and falls for him. Amai's part got so long that I even had to cut some parts out, so if something seems a little bit rushed, it's because of that. So that's Amai. And if you watched to this part, I just wanted to say that I'm going to be opening up memberships for YouTube subscriptions, and I'll be using the money so I can help upgrade my setup, and in the future I can make comics of Yandere Simulator because a lot of you guys asked for that. So by supporting the channel and supporting me, you guys will eventually get comics and whatever else you guys would like to see in the channel. Check out the new memberships so you know what's the deal. So the next rival we'll be working on today is Megami Psycho. I think that at this point you've noticed how I mix the uninteresting girls with the popular ones. Megami is almost a Marisu, so it really doesn't surprise me how not many people seem that interested in watching content related to her. To get the gist of her character, you just need to know that she's good at everything, can outperform anyone in any activity that doesn't take years of training. She also has the weaknesses. She has the bonus that her character is not directly romantically interested in Senpai, so I really like that. Much like Ozoro, my biggest problem with Megami's design is her outfit, as I believe that her other characteristics are not bad and suit her well enough. My Megami is tall and a lot slimmer in comparison to the original art. Her stance is resigned and less extravagant. My goal with her is to make her radiate successful businesswoman energy, as well as to look as mature as possible, since it is described that even adults feel less grown up around her. Now let's get right into her personality, shall we? Our Megami is a very reserved girl who has a strong personality. She's eloquent and confident, which means that one would hardly get into an argument with her and escape with their ego intact. She's very observant and intelligent, which makes her very aware of her surroundings and the people she communicates with, often being very good at detecting liars and people who are putting on an act. But even with these skills, Megami is somewhat socially inept. She's very apathetic to others, and that means that even if she notices someone is uncomfortable or getting hurt by her words, she would rather ignore it and go on with her speech. That, paired with the isolation she faced by going through the extensive business training her family put her through, made her grow into a very cold girl. That doesn't mean she has no feelings or doesn't care about people, because differently from Ayano, who she shares many traits with, Megami is very loyal and gets strongly attached to those she forms bonds with. She will often take their pain and try to ease their worries on her own terms. But even with all those traits who already make her very unapproachable and intimidating, there is one specific aspect of Megami that drives people away the most. She is a germophobic who's obsessive with cleanliness, and because of that, the words dirty, unhygienic, and health hazard are common insults in her vocabulary. You won't ever see her working on the school gardens, taking part in the gym or swimming classes, and much less eating anything from the cooking club. She's always wearing her gloves and only takes off her mask when having lunch. Even with all of these seemingly negative aspects, Megami wishes she could be able to bond normally with people, as she believes a good leader is charismatic and loved by their peers. Something she understands she lacks, as the respect she receives from everyone stems from fear. Now let's get this out of the way. The Seiko Corp is said to be the most powerful business conglomerate in Japan. The company's logo is present in many items through the game, and Academy High was made specifically for Ichiko Saiko, who is Megami's aunt, and customized to fit her tastes. Megami's role in the story is not meant to be a romantic rival to Ayano. Megami is a mirror of Ayano Aishi. They are both perfectionists who strive for the highest, each for their own reasons. But there is one specific thing that connects them deeply: Ryoba Aishi. As you may know, Ryoba was considered as Ichiko Saiko's best friend, even if she didn't see herself as such. It's no secret that she went on a killing spree for her senpai and got to trial because of the journalist's accusations. She was ultimately considered innocent and never had problems with that again. The thing is, Ryoba was closely monitored by the Saiko family for a long time. Because of her closeness to their heir, she had a background check done, and eventually such a powerful family easily found out about this interesting trait that all of the Aishi seem to share, which is an overall lack of empathy and remorse. They, excluding Ichiko, were firm believers that Ryoba was actually a dangerous person and was the author of all of the crimes. But because of their late arrival, they had no proof and thus were unable to pull on the threads to get her to jail. But you might wonder, why would the Saiko family be interested in Ryoba or her family? For one, Ryoba is involved in killing Fun Girl, which is supposedly Ichiko's twin sister, and hiding her in a way that nobody ever found out how she went missing or where she went. She was someone who knew of Ryoba's dishonesty and violence and had proof to end her until she disappeared. Fun Girl was extremely low profile, somewhat similar to InfoChan, so nobody aside from her family even noticed she went missing. I wrote a lot more about Amai and Megami, but the video already got so long, I had to cut so many parts out of it. So I'm sorry if there's stuff lacking. I really wanted to get done with their personality and story rewritten, so I talked very little about the design choices I made, but I hope they're self-explanatory. Thank you so much if you watched up to this video, and don't forget to check out the subscriptions because I will be posting some sneak peeks and the information that got cut out from this video script. See ya!